Hello everyone, I Riya Pahuja from ETCIO welcome you all to the webinar exploring the future of compute with desktop as a service. Business efficiency is heavily dependent on IT scalability and management. With the business expansion and increased workforce, it becomes difficult to provide secure and maintain physical desktop systems requiring virtual solutions. Desktop as a service solutions meet these requirements and deliver more. Today, in this webinar, we will witness the capabilities of Tata Communications in delivering AWS Workspaces, a desktop as a service solution delivered on the AWS cloud. We'll also learn how Tata Communications will help in delivering scalable and efficient desktop experiences in a cost-effective manner as compared to generic virtual desktop infrastructure. For this very topical discussion, we have two eminent speakers from the industry. We have Mr. Vivek Vishnu, General Manager, Public Cloud, Tata Communications, and Arun Balaji, Solutions Architect, AWS. A very warm welcome, dear speakers.
Right. Thank you so much, Ria. This is Vivek. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar hosted by Economic Times CIO Edition, along with Tata Communication and Amazon Web Services. My name is Vivek Vishnu, and I'm leading the public cloud services business in Tata Communication. And I, along with Arun Balaji from AWS, would anchor this webinar on TCL's partnering with AWS on cloud VDI solution and a deep dive view of that solution. I hope while the presentation starts, first thing is that I hope all the participants are safe and are doing well in the current pandemic situation, and I wish you better days ahead in this year. Okay, Arun, next slide. As you may be aware, that Tata Communication is a leading digital infrastructure service provider globally. This is most of the parts. Some of the participants would already be customers of Tata Communication. So some of the key points that I'm highlighting here may not come as a surprise to them. But for the interest of the larger audience, I will share some of the key highlights of our services and our milestones that we achieved in the last few years. Uh, our digital when we look at various stages of digital transformation of enterprises, Tata Communication has been powering the engine of these enterprises through through the heavy lifting of basic infrastructure, be it networking, be it fiber, be it security, etc. Some of the key milestones that we achieved by putting together all these solutions have been we have had 13,000 petabytes of internet traffic that we carry on our internet backbone every month. We handle, and this may come as a surprise to some people, that we handle almost 10% of all international voice calls on our connectivity grid. We handled close to 40 terabytes of international bandwidth bit capacity. Uh, uh, on the other hand, in the consumer world, we enable close to 5 billion transactions per year. We are number one in co-location in India and a leading player in managed hosting and a cloud service globally. We connect businesses to providers uh, who account for almost 70% of cloud computing. So if you look at any cloud computing provider, behind the scenes, the network is provided almost 7 out of 10 times by Tata Communication. We enable 85 million voice transactions every day, and this constitutes some of our traditional businesses that we have always been very strong in. So we can go to the next slide. But how do we look at the future now? So we have reject our strategy for the emerging future, where digital transformation seems to be the key theme driving enterprises. Some of the core pillars of our strategy are to enable our customers to remain on the leading edge of the transformation wave, which includes, first, we are trying to make the internet secure and adequately powered for the enterprises. This is critical to ensure uninterrupted and secure access to internet. In this direction, we have been investing significantly both in expertise and fund flow to ensure the backbone of communication is achieving the key objectives for our customers. Second, we want to be global leaders in cloud enablement for our customers. In this regard, our deep partnering with leading hyperscalers, which is like including Amazon Web Services, is testimony to our commitment to digital transformation of enterprises through public and private cloud offerings from us. Third, we want to stay ahead of the curve on our security solutions to our customers. This is critical because in security, you cannot be behind the curve, else you would be highly vulnerable. Your infrastructure would be highly vulnerable. This is a key pillar in providing an end-to-end security grid to enterprises and our customers. Fourth, we power the cross-border mobility solutions along with sensors and IoT solutions on a large number of use cases. These four key pillars are the foundation on which we are building our strategy over and above the hard infrastructure that we already had and we continue to invest on. Next slide, please. So this looks like a bit of a busy slide, but if you see, this is our framework of called the ISO Managed Cloud, and it's a tightly integrated framework. On the left side, you see the AWS various compute and components which are there. On the right side is the service suite, which enables continuous managed support services to you. At the center, you see this an what we refer to as ISO Managed Cloud for AWS. So I'll just take each of them one by one, so I should be able to communicate to you how this grid actually works. If you're on the left side, AWS is the multi-tenant cloud components. Just go back, please. AWS multi-tenant cloud components. We have ISO Managed Cloud for AWS in the middle and the service suite on the right. The ISO Managed Cloud framework takes care of integrated ITIL processes, around the clock monitoring and control, migration processes, and deep customer engagement and consultation on an ongoing basis. This is supported by our managed security service framework through multi-layered coverage, secure operations, and a trust-based relationship. We service operating systems, databases, middleware for custom solutions developed for our customers in consultation with our customers. Our service suite on the right side integrates in this framework through the ISO Private Connect, various DR options on AWS, Amazon Connect, among other service components. This framework is currently in operation for many of our customers, and we continue to enhance its capabilities to significant investments and partnering with our various partners. In this case, primarily this framework has been adopted for AWS. Go to the next slide, please. So if you see that ISO Private Cloud has a support which includes various components which go into design, implementation, as well as supporting the delivery and on an ongoing basis. In this regard, our GSMC Center, which is our global service management center in Chennai, enables the complete end-to-end service metrics to our customers through service assurance, engineering, delivery, usage and consumption, optimization, support, and service continuity. We work through various SLAs on each of the components of our services, and once we are engaged to you, we would be able to help you understand the components that we support for our customers. This is essentially supported by a whole array of audits, due diligence, and certifications which are required to run these services. We have been engaged in proactive automation of various services for obvious efficiency and effectiveness of our service. ISO managed, we have a product called ISO Managed Service Portal as well for AWS, and so some of our best trained and competent engineering forces are deployed on managing this customer dashboard. custom developed customer dashboard on AWS. You can go to the next slide, please. Drilling down or double clicking on that ISO cloud command that I spoke about earlier, our ISO cloud command provides to our customer a single interface for the entire infrastructure information. This includes multi-cloud tenancy as well. It has a real-time dashboard of IT infrastructure availability and performance. You could view various dashboards, which are role-based dashboards for performance monitoring and alerts. It integrates with the incident management module to check statuses and raise requests as and when required. So to our customers, they have a digital dashboard, which is called the ISO cloud command, and integrates the entire spectrum of components and services and processes, including automation tools for monitoring, troubleshooting, alert receiving, and raising requests for the entire digital infrastructure. Next slide, please. As with regards to AWS, Tata Communication is an advanced consulting partner of AWS. As highlighted in my previous slides, we have a large engineering team of certified professionals on AWS who are highly trained and experienced in handling any complex scenario as with regards to AWS various services, including the cloud VDI services. Next service, next slide, please. Now let's let's move to the remote work solution that we are currently focusing in this webinar. AWS Remote Work Solutions currently has a host of solutions for remote and work from home users. These include a very key component called Workspaces. Workspaces enables remote users to access their virtual desktops on AWS Cloud. This is what is termed as desktop as a service. This is a critical component. Without workspaces, you will not be able to utilize the VDI services of AWS primarily. So when we look at a secured virtual desktop on the cloud, then workspaces is a key component in that. So while we go into this presentation deeper, I would request you to remember that workspaces will keep coming back over and over again, because this forms the key control panel over which manages the AWS compute and VMs in a cloud VDI environment. The second component, which is a critical component, is a app stream. This is optional, and if we have to analyze whether you need it, and if it is required, then what it does is it enables secure delivery of applications to the desktop. We will talk about it in a lot more detail in this presentation at a later point in this presentation. Workdocs is the third component. It's a document and content storage and management service from AWS. It enables secure collaboration, and it's quite similar to your content management system that you may be aware of or maybe using from other third-party vendors. Chime is a UCC service from AWS. It enables chat, voice, and collaboration, and is similar to the other products which are in the market. But Chime remains one of the key collaboration products from AWS. Connect is a virtual contact center from AWS. That's the fifth component. And Client VPN is obviously enables secure remote network access. These six components form the grid of the remote workers solution. You may have in your particular scenario, you may need one, or you may need a few of them to be able to complete a requirement that you may have. So all of them are not required, but sometimes all of them may be required in case you want to have them as part of the solution. In the cloud VDI space, workspaces remains the central piece around which all these solutions will then be integrated. Can move to the next slide, please. So in this presentation, we'll focus our attention on workspaces, app streams, a little bit on Workdocs. Let's look at apps workspaces. Next slide. So there are numerous cases or use cases of AWS workspaces. While traditionally some of them are highlighted in the presentation, however, for the in the current situation, COVID has opened up new directions of thought process in workplace transformation. In this cloud VDI, solutions like AWS workspaces are in the center of this new normal uh, that is emerging very clearly for employees and organizations globally now. Essentially, that what we understand in the last 2.5 months of lockdown, various versions and unlocking now currently underway in the country. There are two lines of thinking that are emerging in enterprises and at the CXO level in most of our customer locations, as well as other enterprises as well. One is the immediate effect of lockdown opened the need for a business continuity planning of an extreme nature. Because of the suddenness of the disruption, a lot of organizations were caught unaware that this lockdown can mean immediate and uh, persistent business disruption of a nature that they had not visualized in any of their risk management plans that they had developed over the years. So that has left a deep mark on the thinking of most business planners, and they are now looking at solutions where business continuity planning uh, in the environment of an extreme and sudden disruption may be a possibility which may repeat in days and years to come. So that would remain a key factor in the critical thinking of CXOs in most organizations. The second line of thinking that we have monitored and we have had multiple conversations with our customers, and one thing which has emerged after 2.5 months of being in a lockdown scenario is enterprises have monitored the workforce, work from home, distributed workforce productivity, and have seen certain merits in this workforce architecture. So the planning is changing, where HR is now playing a big role, and they're trying to define policies for for a high double-digit percentage figure of employees working from home on a permanent basis. So this is what appeared to be immediate reaction to the lockdown is now being seen as a long-term enterprise strategy for workforce management. Uh, Obviously, this brings out opportunities and challenges. Opportunities are obvious and are well known. Some of the bellwether companies in this arena has been somebody like TCS, one of our group companies, and they had stated very early in this lockdown phase that they would have 75% of their employees working from home in the next 3 years' time. Now that statement rang a bell with a lot of organizations and has sort of given a direction to most organizations to definitely think of this in a long term basis. Uh, but what are the challenges then? The challenges are both at the strategic level, HR policy level, and very importantly, the CIO CTO level, where they see challenges in endpoint security. They see challenges in insecurity, in transit security, and data security. Right. So with this, we can have continuing conversations with you and work towards a strategic understanding of deploying a cloud VDI solution in your enterprise. Next slide, please. Okay, so AWS Workspaces capabilities, let's have a quick look at this. It supports all kinds of end devices, which are zero clients or Chromebook devices. Mobile devices are included. It supports audio inputs, including Skype, WebEx calls from Workspaces. One could develop custom images for user profiles. Workspaces has an application manager for managing the entire application landscape. It provides API support and for various SDKs and CLIs. For monitoring, Amazon CloudWatch and CloudTrail integration would be something that we would need, or you would need to monitor the network health and the overall uh, infrastructure accessibility to its users. Next slide, please. In terms of performance, cost, and flexibility enhancements, if you have been a public cloud user, you must be aware you can avail of pay as you go. There's no upfront and long-term commitment also that is required here. It totally depends upon how you see your IT strategy and policy panning out, and the mapping of the payment mechanism, be it RIs or pay as you go. In your case, you can bring your own license, so nothing much changes from what your licensing has been on Windows 7 and Windows 10. So you can bring that, or you could use Windows Server licenses as well. With regards to security and compliance, data at rest will include storage volume encryption through Radius. Multi-factor authentication is provided. A certificate-based device authorization is required. Various certifications are available in terms of security and compliances, including PCI DSS level 1 compliant, GDPR, and this system is GDPR ready, which includes personal identification, and those kind of security policies are enabled in AppStream workspaces. Next slide, please. Let's move to the quick view on the AppStream. Next slide. This essentially enables you to centrally manage all your applications and deliver these applications to the virtual desktop securely. Where you can use next slide, please. Use AppStream apart from business delivery. Business application delivery, it helps you in using high-end graphics applications like 3D design, CAD/CAM, or any of the gaming applications for to the virtual desktops, which requires intense computing as well. But then you can use the graphic capability of workspaces and the compute power of AWS without the need of having desktops of such high-end nature in your organization. For software vendors, it helps in client and internal demos of their software, various deliveries and versions that they create, among other use cases as well. Next slide, please. Okay. Before we go to the next slide, which is essentially a deep down architecture view, in which I and Arun will be alternating here. We wanted to have a quick poll with you. Yeah.
For this poll question, we ask our attendees, what are your organization's primary infrastructure challenges in software development in the current lockdown scenario? The options are robust business continuity plan, information security concerns, enabling a virtual and distributed workforce enablement, enabling a significant percentage of workforce for work from home, or post-lockdown IT network planning. Attendees have 30 seconds to answer the question. Mr. Vishnu, while we are waiting to hear from our attendees what they think on the question, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so thank you, Neha. Through the last 2.5 months of literally round the clock working with customers because of the serious concern on a business continuity that they were hit in the early towards the mid of March and in the early April. I must tell you that to the audience, as well as to anybody who would want to know, is that business continuity remains one of the extreme cases. It's really been a scare for most of our customers. We have worked very hard through all our solutions, not just AWS and other solutions of Tata Communications, to ensure that we get our customers back on business, back on their feet, literally overnight. And I'm proud to say that most of our Tata Communication team worked very hard to do that. I'm sure everybody was working hard, but I'm aware of what my organization was doing, and there is some satisfaction in saying that we could get our customers back on track very, very soon, as compared to people who were still not able to understand what is hitting them in terms of the impact on their business. So that's one area. The moment that happened and one could breathe a little easy, obviously endpoint security became a concern because you have large distributed workforce working from home.
Yes.
Enabling significant workforces is a strategy decisions. I'll leave it for audience to decide that.
Sure. We have the inputs here. Let us see what the attendees have to say. So 33% go with a robust business continuity plan, 59% go with information security concerns, 24% go with enabling a virtual and distributed workforce enablement, 43% go with enabling a significant percentage of workforce for work from home, and 27% go with post-lockdown IT network planning.
Wonderful. So now that organizations have got some sense on grip on what's happening, security
Yes.
concerns is primary, and I see that. At this stage, I would rather hand over the presentation and the discussion to Arun from AWS, who would help you in the deep dive of the architecture, as well as help software development teams and software development organizations understand how you could use AWS workspaces and AWS infrastructure for a secure VDI environment going forward. Over to you, Arun. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you, Vivek. First of all, welcome you all, guys. Yeah, myself Arun. As I said, I'm a solution architect in AWS. Yeah, next probably we have probably next 20-25 minutes. What I'll cover. Already Vivek has covered what are the different offerings in AWS, and particularly today our focus is on the workspaces and app stream to help you cover those various aspects. Right now we saw in the poll, right? I want to take care of my security part, information security. I want to have the continue the business continuity. So those areas I'll try to quickly give up some of the further points. So what are Vishnu told, additional points, how this workspace helps you, and then what are the different features available, right? So so far you have seen, right, the workspace. Okay, it's a virtual solution VDI. I got it. Like, how does it fit into my existing environment? So I'm not new to the system, right? I already have a traditional setup in my on premises, or maybe I may be even running something in the cloud. How do my users come, and then how does the connectivity entire pieces work, right? So just I'll give a quick idea. I know this diagram looks little complicated, but very quick idea. So assume that in your left side you see the users, right? They're from home or wherever they are, right? So they can connect to the simple portal, and then for them it's a simple login and credentials, which is can be their existing your credentials. Maybe it can be, today you might be using Active Directory or some other provider, right? So it can be connected with that, and then they can log in with that, and then their missions will be in the AWS cloud. We call it the VDAs or workspaces, that will be in the AWS cloud, and they have the connectivity established with your on premises. Probably your on premises, you might be having some corporate servers, or it may be a Redis server, or it may be even some application servers, right? So they talk in the backend, they have their pipe established, and then they talk. But for the users, their landing position would be in this AWS cloud, where they'll get the login screen over a PCI portal, the standard protocol, where they get a streaming gateway. Basically, all you do is you log in, you will see the desktop, you'll start working. That desktop actually have a connectivity to your corporate network. So is it as good as you are sitting in your office and you're working? So you can securely establish this entire flow. It's possible, with this workspaces. So that's, I just give a quick view. I mean, anyway, it has more details in this, but that will be like too much for today. But to have a quick glimpse of what it is means is, you have your users, how they can sit in their off corporate network, opening their PC and then a laptop or desktop which is connected to corporate network with all the group policies, all the security controls applied. Same video experience they would get even from their home. Even towards the end of the thing, I'm quickly show that piece right now, how that entire end-to-end works. There's a small demo I plan to show. Okay, so this is if you see in the previous one, people are coming from the internet directly. In case if you need, you can, even if your people are sitting in the within your corporate network, still they can access the workspaces via public internet. Even that is possible. Basically, sometimes I mean, in some cases where you have contract workers, I mean, you don't want to give any local, hardware. Basically, you don't want to give any very powerful hardware or anything, but still, they want to access, for example, AutoCAD or MATLAB or very powerful applications, right? When they want to use it, then rather than you provision a new hardware in your corporate network, you provision a workspace. You give a simple, kind of a very lightweight Linux or Chromebook kind of a setup. By using that, they can connect to the powerful PC. So that flow was, it is depicted here. So having said that, I will just tell how this workspace, right? So as you already seen, the workspace can be different use cases which way cover, right? Can be a contract workers, or can be continuity, business continuity, who people can working from home, or maybe a temporary worker. So, or probably like there are projects we need a very powerful PC, but where I don't want to really procure a very powerful PC for those duration. I'll just use it workspaces with a graphics card, maybe 1 or 2 months. Then I will discontinue it. I will be paying only for those 2 months. So those are some of the use cases we have seen it. So good that only thing is now questions will be, hey, I already have a Active Directory, I already have a SSCM tool. I have control like MFA controls, and I want to have very strict controls. So is it possible? Yes, workspaces can play well along with all these tools. Even though you create the workspace in the cloud, it can be part of your intranet. That's what I have shown you in the right. It can be still as good as like it's there in your local intranet. You can apply the same network controls, you can apply the same group policy controls, etc. And similarly, if you want, people are accessing from home. So if you see in the poll, a lot of people are say their information security was high priority, right? So automatically what you can do is whoever accessing from home, we can add a second factor authentication, so that not unauthorized people will be accessing it, right? That is possible. And similarly, the same security line and the compliance line, I need to constantly applying my updates, right? For example, I'll be maintaining my Windows updates, etc. So it's possible using existing, you might be using existing SCCM. Your workspaces can be still part of the same set. And the another thing is there are another security additional feature where, see, I know my users come laptop. This is what the users laptops. I don't want anyone other than that user's laptop. They should be able to connect to this workspace. You can restrict like using the certificate authority. Maybe I can install a certificate in the user's laptop. Only from that laptop they'll be able to access the workspace. No one else, can access it. Those kind of controls are possible with this workspace. So this gives you, uh, because of this reason, it gives you information security team, more. Peace of mind. See, I'm allowing my people to work from home, and will they be able to is there any is my information secure, is there any problem, or any other imposter will access it. Those kind of things very easily can be controlled using these services, using these tools available to workspaces. And other thing is, another additional feature with workspaces is you don't have to, when I launch workspaces, is all like encrypted on in transit, as well as that the storage is encrypted. And it's only the, if you notice, the entire workspace is just a streaming pixels. It's all going over the public internet, is nothing but is the streaming pixels. Okay, it is the screen. Similarly, from the user, there's a sorry, the keyboard strokes going as a streaming. So this is all encrypted completely. So even if someone try to snoop it also, they will not be able to make any sense out of it. So the overall, even it's aligned with the Paul's expectation also, right? The workspaces fit into that lot of the security requirement. Due to these reasons, because of so many the security controls and security services available, the workspaces are today they're compliant with a lot of our certifications, starting from SOC 1, SOC 2, or ISO, even HIPAA, even GDPR. So these are all like we have certified the workspace services. So for example, you have a project with a customer, or you are you are developing a product which needs HIPAA compliance, or which needs SOC compliance, or PCI compliance. If you are using workspaces, you don't need to do one more round of do for the workspaces, because the workspace is already certified for PCI or DSS. Just need to certify your application. You don't have to really certify the way you manage the workspaces, etc. So that's a quick the fact on how workspaces fare in the security, as well as the connectivity and the compliance piece of it. So this is a quick overview. And if you look at that workspace today, it is available across the globe. For example, you may have end users in India, maybe different place. So wherever they are, there is a nearby, it is currently today available in more than 12 places. The workspaces are available. Even in India, it is gonna soon be here, and then where people can easily access it. See, as of now, today, if you want to access workspaces, Singapore is the closest one for us. We will be using from there. But in India, it will be soon, it will be coming in. And there will be a quick, poll will be coming in. It is just to understand, now you saw the workspaces, right? Workspaces VDI, right? It's good. I understood it. My end users can be using it. Now we want to more understand. Hey, okay, now I'll allow my people to work from users. There are a lot of developers are there. What would be their preferred platform? Just to understand that, we have a quick poll. Hey, Arya, so can you pull in the poll?
Sure, we have this poll question, and for this question, we ask our attendees which platform is preferred by your developers. The options are Windows, Linux, or Mac.
Yeah, I think I mean, these are more obvious questions, right? Because today's theme
Yes,
kind of we align with how do we help in terms of developers, leveraging these workspaces offering. So if that is the case, what would be the preferred platform? Because workspaces offer different type of bundles. I'm gonna touch up down the area, but still, I just wanted to understand from the audience that what would be the reason? I mean, sorry, what is the specific platform your developers today are using it, right?
sure.
Yeah, yeah. So is
Let's
it?
see what attendees have to say. We have the inputs here. 72% go with Windows, 26% go with Linux, and 2% go with Mac.
Okay, cool. So that's good to understand. So okay, so let's continue. I have the additional point, right? So you told that 72% prefers Windows and 26% Linux, right? So if you look at
Yes,
that workspace, the Amazon workspaces offers flexible, right, options. You can have Windows, you can have Linux. You can have clients can access, for example, your end user, right? I'm an end user. I want to access workspaces. I can access from my desktop or from my mobile or from my, even I all I need is just a browser, which is the latest edition of browser, either Chrome or Firefox. I can access my workspace. And the supported, the clients are VDAs are Windows 10, Linux, Windows 7, and Amazon Linux. So usually 98% of today's your requirement can be fulfilled by these workspaces. And we also have something called bundles. The bundles is nothing but it's a different size. For example, value is nothing but it's a 2 core and 4 GB RAM bundle. Sorry, value is 2 core 2 GB RAM. Standard is 2 core 4 GB RAM. Performance is 8 GB RAM. Like that, we have different bundles with a different combination of operating systems. So I want a graphics. Yes, there is a NVIDIA graphics card included bundles also available. So these are like different bundles, right? And similarly, pricing wise, we have two type of pricing. One is a monthly pricing, another one is like hourly pricing. So what is this monthly pricing? So you'll say, hey, I'll use my the workspace for this full month. Okay, I'll my end user maybe next 3 months I'll be using. So you can go opt for a monthly pricing, so you'll be charged flat, for example, $30 or $25 per month for that workspace. Depends on the bundle you choose. Maybe sometime what you're doing is you are allowing users to work only maybe few hours, maybe a contract worker. They may use overall the entire month, they use only 15 hours. Okay. So in that case, you can opt for hourly billing. You will be charged only for those 15 hours. Whatever the bundle you use doesn't matter. They'll use only those 15 hours charge will be there. So these are the two options you have very flexible, right? So maybe I have a temporary need of our space, which I will do it, and then I will probably I need for a longer duration, which we can for monthly billing. Okay. Now coming back to the another important, I mean, not I would say important, another option, or one of the good feature which we have with workspaces, we have Amazon Linux workspaces. If you look at it, lot of developers or I mean at least the developers are hardcore developers, right, who work in the more embedded C kind of a structure, or lot of Linux based development. So they would prefer Linux workspaces. So here in AWS we offer Linux based workspaces as well. See, everyone will be familiar with Windows VDI, so I'm not going to very deep on that. I'm just going to show still how it looks in the demo. I already told how it's easy to integrate with other tools. I'm just going to touch up a little bit more on the Linux workspaces, because it's very easy and then very inexpensive. For example, you want to allow your developers to continue working at the same time. You don't want to incur a lot of additional charges, right? Because you already procured Windows licenses and then you already running a lot of Windows systems. This is just, I want probably assume that your developer would be using only Eclipse, or we will be using only that studio code, or maybe some small tool, right? So in that cases, the Linux workspace will be very useful. So even though it is Linux workspaces, a lot of time we refrain from Linux workspace because of the security concerns. We don't know whether a lot of uncertainties, right? But here with Amazon workspaces, you get a very simple management, and then it's again the same security and complaints, and it can be part of your Active Directory. And see, when it's Active Directory, at least for authentication piece, right? Not for the group policies, at least for authentication, you don't have to really worry about managing separate user ID passwords and all. There is the same AD credential we can use it to log in to that machines, right? So this will help easily scale the developers. And so what it is underlying, it is there, it is mainly built for the cloud, and then it's ready for enterprise. Okay, it has a proper support. So a lot of times the problem with the Linux is, if I'm taking this variant of Linux, whether it should be supported, will there be regular patches will be there, all those things, right? So that will be like it will be supported by Amazon here. So they give us a 5-year LTS. Basically, whatever the Linux version comes with workspaces, it has 5 years of long-term support from Amazon. And we have a lot of partner ecosystem available to support it. And similarly, a lot of things, if you're having some lot of services available in AWS, which is Linux is completely optimized for it. And another good part is maybe one developer in your organization, one set of developers would want to use Java based tools, another set of developers would want to use a Node.js, or another set of developers maybe want to use a PHP or a .NET Core or like that, right? So it's easy for you to create different bundles and different for different set of developers. It's easy for you to maintain that different group of developers with a different experience, right? So by default, right, we can, for example, I can customize by bundle saying that, okay, this is a .NET developer bundle, this is a Java developer bundle. I can create a different bundle with the different products, and then I can, when I deliver a workspace to a particular set of groups, when they open it, all the tools they want to use it will be ready. They don't have to really customize or anything. They can start using it. So that the customization is very easy, and then the provisioning time and the experience for your developers and it all will be more better here, right? And even whatever we have shown here, in case if you want to have a in case if you want to create a custom bundle, even that is possible. Maybe developer says, hey, whatever you are given is not sufficient, I want to add additional things. Yes, we have a lot of other additional customization options are available. You can create a new custom bundle based on your developers very specific requirements. And there's be one, final. I mean, I won't say final poll. One last before the poll. There's one small question which talks about that little bit of your IT, or I would say like IP protection. Yeah, Ria, please go ahead on the poll.
Sure. For this question we have, is there a need to have IP protection during the deployment, like preventing code copy to the local machine? The options are very obvious, yes or no.
So yeah, I mean this comes. I mean this is predominantly this is for a product. I would say like we are developing some particular specific IP which involves a lot of key information related to your product. Then in that case, earlier when you're in office, it's okay because everything is controlled. Now people are working from home. Then what would be the options? Do I have it? I mean, do you really need it, or what are the challenges, right? Um, I think it should be a very quick poll, right, Arya? You should be
Yes,
having the
yes,
result,
we
right?
already have the response. 88%
Yeah,
go with yes and 12% go with no.
it's look at it. Yeah, it's obviously right now the answer is to be yes, right? So
Yes.
and then yeah, I'm gonna cover like those points particularly on this how this IP protection will be very
Arun,
helpful in terms of yeah.
Arun, could I just interrupt? I found that very interesting that the security question. I thought it was very obvious, but endpoint security is a very key concern for most of our customers in the software development sector, because code copy other things are a problem that they face. They would not have faced within the organization on-prem. So I was a little surprised that 10% or 12% people didn't want endpoint security. But that's an interesting viewpoint which came out there. Over to you, Arun. I just thought it was an interesting viewpoint. Over to you, Arun. Arun?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm back. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm back. Yeah, sorry, I was muted. So as I
No
said,
problem.
right, so there is a, we have a small, few features which covers this area. So quickly, before going into that, covering that area, I just want to, highlight a few of our, the customer success stories. One is like even even though we are part of AWS, our regular Amazon, right, the Amazon e-commerce, they most of, our entire lot of development, the developers, a lot of our team, even I have workspace. Everyone have our corporate workspaces. Okay, even we have even company laptop in case if it is even having some issues, we can easily connect to continue access our emails and other corporate applications, continuing workspaces and all the development tools, everything installed, right? So this is our common, the one of these cases. And similarly, another customer like Autodesk, they use these workspaces extensively for their temporary users, like whenever they run some kind of events, whenever they run some hackathons, then some university event, they use these workspaces temporarily to give access to their software, etc. Rather than come and then set up the workspace and virtual workstation to do the events. It's ready, workspace is ready, just provision it and start using it, right? This is like some sample, I'm just giving a very few, bits of how customers are using these workspaces. Now coming back to the second offering, this AppStream. It's like a fully managed streaming service. What is like, what is the workspace? What is the streaming applications, right? So in the world and ways we use Citrix Zen Desktop and Zen app, right? So same way, this this is equal to a Zen app where people log in into a browser. I'll quickly show you that way. Anyways, people log into a screen and then all they see is like four applications. Okay, maybe the Eclipse IDE, there may be a browser, there may be a Tally, or maybe a AutoCAD application, right? So they open the application, they straight away they go to application, no desktop, nothing. It's just a simple streaming application, right? So in that streaming application, they will do their operations and etc. And then they'll close it. There is no desktop, nothing. They don't have to worry a lot of things. So what is the advantage here? It's completely secure to stream. So I can have a full control here. Whereas one of the requirement was I want to protect my IP, right? Here I can give the IDE where people can type the code and then edit this code and then directly save it. But they will not be. We can disable the copy paste. We can they don't have access to any other tools. It's completely secured. And the same time yeah, those worst case, people can taking a photograph of the screen, we cannot prevent it, but at least other than that, we will make it very difficult for people to copy paste the content or take the thing. So it's anything security to streaming option you have to give. This app stream really will be helpful there. And it's same thing, it gives the same experience as like your corporate. It can be part of your corporate, it can be part of your active directory, group policies, and then all those things which you get to along with the full desktop, you'll get the same experience here as well. I'll quickly show in the demo how it looks like it. Okay. And typical flow for administrator, again, it is exactly same like your workspaces, where you create an image, you expose a certain applications, you build a fleet, and then you publish to the end users. So end users log in with their AD credentials or your own defined credentials, and they can start you know they can start accessing their application. This is the flow is for administrator takes like probably like a hour or two to set up the entire fleet, and for the end users just log in, and then in the next minute they can start using it. That's how the flow will be there for AppStream. And then if you come to coming together both this workspace and AppStream, the common use cases, right? So probably like the contract users, temporary users, working from home, maybe replacing your existing VDA solutions, or particularly, so maybe I want to allow only SAP to be used, so I don't want to give a desktop. I can give a simple streaming application as a SAP to the end users. We have customers who are using like that, or simple CAD applications which needs a very powerful GPU, but I don't want my procure a costly machine for every now and then. I mean, maybe I need only few hours in a week. My users will be using CAD. So in that case, we can use a streaming application, or we can use a workspaces only for the 2 hours, 3 hours. You end up paying only those 3 hours cost rather than you buy the full powerful graphics desktop, right? So these are some common use case using these both workspaces and AppStream. So having said that, and some of the customer success stories on this AppStream, right? The 3D CAD software design company, they use this, AppStream for the delivering trials. Basically, whenever they have this product new releases there for the customer, they simply send the URL, they log in. Customer can immediately experience that their product. They don't have to install anything. They don't have to do anything. Simply they'll experience that product in their browser itself. So that's a very convenient, easy way to give something right to the customer's experience. And similarly for the MathWorks, right, they will use for a their all their the programming environment, their programming environment, right? So it's be used with a lot of engineers and then scientists. They use it for a deep learning workshops, everything. They use this AppStream. They don't they don't really provision a new machine. People can come with their own laptop or own desktop, because MATLAB is a very big product. So what they do, they simply open a browser, they log in, and the MATLAB will be there. They can start using it, right? These are all some of the use cases how these things are getting used, right? And so now you are seen, right, very simple of workspaces and then AppStream. And just I'll give a very quick glimpse. Probably I'll just take a minute, and I know we are very close to the timeline, but I'm just very quick minute. AWS also has a lot of products which helps you for developers into checking the code and then building the product. So complete pipeline, right? DevOps services. We have ready services which we can readily plug in and can start doing. You don't have to do a lot of work related to that, right? We can simply start, and then I have my entire DevOps pipeline like this. For example, my it's a typical pipeline, right, where I have complete pipeline defined with a few clicks of and a few in the graphical way you can do it. You don't have to really spend a lot of time in defining these kind of a thing. So the plugin, why I mentioned this is in this session is you have workspace AppStream, people can check in the code, you can define the entire product pipeline using the services readily available in AWS. They can be tightly integrated, and then they can increase your experience better. So now, having said that, there is a demo plan. I think before the demo, I think we have a quick poll. While you guys are getting the answering the question, I'll quickly switch over and then showing my quick demo. Yeah, over to you.
Sure. For this last question, we have a feedback cum poll question. So the question is, can a Tata Communication representative contact you to help you with your software development challenges? And the options are again yes or no.
Okay, so while we are answering the poll, okay, so typically, so first thing, right? As I told you, we have many places this workspaces available. So which region to choose, right? So if you look at it, if I use my latency to Singapore region is here 70 millisecond, so closest to second 70 millisecond. That's how we evaluate. And what you see in my screen, right? I mean, I already have a workspaces. Basically, if you look, I'll just show probably like
Arun,
let me.
the attendees are still voting. They cannot see your screen. Please, a
Oh,
quick
okay.
second.
Yeah,
We'll take that.
yeah. Sure. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll.
Also, before we move on to the demo, I would like to remind all my attendees that they can drop in their queries and questions in the box provided. We'll be sharing and addressing the questions at the end of the demo in our Q&A round. Arun, yes, you can go ahead with the demo. We are
Yeah.
done with the
Okay.
question.
Yeah, so if you see, right, as I told you, there is a very quick way to determine which AWS region is close to me, which AWS cloud location is close to me. It will tell you this, there is a health. It will tell you that, hey, closest to you, Singapore for me. If you look at it, my latency is just 70 millisecond. I'll be very fast here, right? So now what I want to show is, like, for example, I have provisioned the workspaces. So now workspaces are there, and this is the workspace client. If you look at it, this is a workspaces client. That's how you have your workspace client. So what I'm going to show you is quick workspaces. So already I have provisioned my workspaces, and then my workspaces are there in this screen. This look at it. This is just a simple Linux workspace. All I do is they'll choose it, and then they can log in with their AD credentials. It is integrated with their Active Directory. So all they do is they can log in with their uh, Active Directory. And so this gives you a quick I'm logging into that. It's all they use. This client, they can be installed in any one of their Windows, Mac. I'm using Mac, Windows, Mac, or Linux base or Chromebook. So once I install, this is what my workspace, right? So for example, if you look at it, so this is my full workspace where it is a proper desktop. It's like, even though it looks like my local desktop, this is like, properly it is in the running in the cloud, and then end users have the same thing. For example, if you're a developer, I want to use Eclipse, all I'm doing is like I'm just accessing. If you look at it, I'm at home, I'm using a simple sorry, I'm using a simple local network with my home. I'm accessing this workspace. It's pretty simple, and then it's not like very intuitive, and I don't have too much of lag here, right? And this was the experience already. In this next very, I mean, I can continue my development, or completely here you can completely control using your group policies, all those things, right? So this is a simple, the Linux workspaces. Same thing. If you see, I opened the Express, opened the Linux workspace, and I showed you, right? Similar thing. If you want, I'll show how does that app stream looks like it, right? So I'm showing you this, quick app stream my experience as well. So I assume that you are a user, and then I want to use the app stream for the same Eclipse, right? So here I have a quick, there is a demo where for example, these are when a user logs in, what they do, they get a login URL. When the user logged in, whatever the application published, they'll see like this. All they do is they'll get to see like this. Okay, so you can choose any one of the application. It will basically, what it will do is it will provision the application. The users, all the data, everything will be preserved from the previous session, and then we have a proper controls. Like for example, they cannot do copy paste. All those controls can be implemented. All they get is like straight away the Eclipse screen. In the previously, you get the full desktop experience. Here what you get is like simple IDE, direct IDE. So I can show you in the in the full screen. So all you do is like directly I can I'll get into that. I will get my Eclipse ID appearing. I don't get the full desktop experience. I can start working in my application directly. So that's all it is. So if you see here, no, the full desktop experience, here is a complete control. Okay, you don't have to really worry about those things. Yeah, so this is how that app stream will look like it. And you can even see like multiple applications also can be opened together. For example, in the same app stream session, I can have a Eclipse, and then I can have a browser. Whatever allowed applications, only those they can be opened it. Okay, see right now they can even save their in their storage, which is in the cloud storage, which can be preserved. Only thing is they cannot copy paste it. So here this options you can enable it if you even want to enable copy paste. Here right now I enabled it. If you want, we can disable these options. If we disable, they will not be able to do a copy paste. Okay, so this is a quick demo. I would like to showcase how that workspaces looks like, and then how that the app stream looks like it. So yeah, I think now we can go back to the Q&A. Over to you, Riaz. Probably, yeah.
Sure,
We
Arun.
have 5 minutes. Yeah, I
Once
know we are kind of yeah.
Yes, we are. The clock is ticking by. So we're quickly taking a few questions here. So in reference to the poll question that we had about, IP security, there is this question that the attendees say that he's concerned about the security and IP aspects related to the custom code being hosted on the cloud. So he wants you to share some examples of how Tata Communications and AWS will be able to address.
Okay, I mean, could
Sorry,
you
Ria, we
read the
couldn't hear
question?
the question.
Yeah,
Could you
could you
repeat that,
give the question
please?
again? Sorry. Yeah.
Sure, I will repeat the question. The attendees ask if you can share some examples of how Tata Communications and AWS will address the issue of security and IP aspects related to the custom code being shared on the cloud.
Okay, Arun, I'll take a shot at it, and then you can add to that. So, Tata Communication has a complete security framework, which is what we call as managed security services, which enables a complete perimeter circling of the security. So, we have this framework where we can monitor all the security components and vulnerabilities of your entire infrastructure. A, B, on endpoint security or the user level security. There are specific features from the DLP, etc., which enables copy paste functions to be disabled, and bookmark sorry watermarking is disabled. Those kind of functions are enabled for your users. In that also, you can have restricted selective access. So some users may have a copy paste restriction, some users may not have, depending upon the nature of the user's access that you want to provide to your employees. Also need to understand that not everything is blocked for users, which also means some users you may be able to copy paste within applications. So I may have a code which I may want to copy it to my email or a chat window which is an enterprise chat window, and I can share it with other colleagues of mine. While if I have to copy paste it onto my local disk is where the restriction may come in. So that level of granularity in terms of security at the endpoint can be enabled. In terms of data in transit, this is all encrypted data, so it's highly secure. You could further use a VPN tunnel from Tata Communication, and that would quite simply secure your data in the transit. As far as data and at rest in AWS is concerned, that's encrypted and follows the native security features of AWS as well. Arun, you want to add to that?
I think pretty much, there's a lot of other options available. But probably, like, if you could give a use case, we can give a more detailed, insight to it.
Right. Correct. Absolutely. Yes, Neha. Next question.
Sure. The next question is if you can cite a few examples of how development centers can leverage a solution like virtual desktop for their development teams in the current environment.
So,
So,
Arun, take a shot on that. Yeah, you take a shot on that.
yeah, sure. Yeah. So development centers, right? Even if you look at it, even Amazon, we have we call it the Amazon Development Center. We have it in Bangalore now. A lot of people are working from home. But what do we do is, like, there are a lot of the high critical code, and then as high critical code, there are some design systems, and then the coding system. We need a very powerful PCs. What we do is we provision that whenever there is a development, they'll just simply when they log in. I mean, I can probably, like, I can go, there's a portal, I'll simply say, hey, I want, this is my configuration I need, these are the tools, I just simply select it. In the back end, this entire workspace can be customized a bundle for that particular developer hours. It will create this entire image, connect to the corporate network, all their code pipeline, we have our internal code pipeline tools, right? All the devs pipeline, everything connected, ready, even the SSH configured and everything ready. It will just coming to the user as, like, hey, this is your login. Just, as I showed you, there's a screen, they can simply use their same AD credentials to log in, and then they can continue using development. This is one way, very easy for you to completely automate the full setup of the entire development center using this VDI. So this way, you don't
Right.
have to worry
So,
whether the customer has all the necessary tools in the laptop, or whether is there any the connectivity wise they have any all the antivirus are in place, etc. So you don't have to worry because everything is controlled in the VDI side.
Absolutely, and Arun. So just adding to that, just one layer below that, what you just spoke for the benefit of the larger audience. So each of these VMs are allocated to the software developer. So a pooled resource in terms of application host is placed in another VM. Each of these applications, as per the current policies that you have in terms of access to these users, are mapped onto these each of these VMs. So the way the application developer or the software developer was using various applications and resources within the organization, that continues to happen seamlessly. All that has shifted is from his physical workstation or a physical work a laptop, that has got just sort of transported to the virtual cloud layer on AWS, and that user software developer will continue to use the application he or she was using even earlier. The access mechanism through AD, as Arun highlighted, is through the VPN or MPLS line between your Active Directory on-prem, which is mapped to the Active Directory on AWS. So the access mechanism also does not change. The username, password, everything remains exactly the same. And you could then deploy all the policies with regards to IT policies and security policies that you were using currently on prem, that those policies are then enabled on the virtual desktop itself. So again, no change happens in that respect. It's a matter of configuring it in the first go, and once the configurations are over and tested, you are good to go very quickly as a virtual and a modernized infrastructure for all your software developers. Yes, Priya.
Great.
Yes, Priya.
Thank you so much, Mr. Balaji and Mr. Vishnu, for this wonderful session. I must say it was great. And I'm also grateful for all the attendees who were here with us today in this session. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Stay connected and most importantly, stay safe.
Thank you so much,
Thank you all.
ET
Thank you.
and AWS, and thank you all the participants who took time to come over and to hear us and post their questions and participated in the poll questions as well. And be safe, and hope to see you in a more detailed conversation in case you feel there is something that we could engage with you on the Cloud VDI on AWS. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you all. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.